The sky above the planet was always dark. No stars could be seen through the thick clouds. Only lightning flashed now and then, showing the broken rocks and silent mountains. There was no wind, no sound, only silence.
Oh.
A silence so deep it made everything feel dead. Inside a small, cracked escape pod, a girl lay still. Her skin was soft blue, and her silver hair was tangled and dirty. Her name was Rena, and she was not human. She came from a peaceful race called the Orin, known for music, light, and dreams. But those things were gone now. Rena's ship had been attacked many days ago. She had escaped, just barely, in this pod. It had landed hard on this cold planet. She was the only survivor at first. She believed someone would come. Her people always responded to distress signals. Orin rescue ships were fast, brave. But as the days passed, her hope faded. The emergency beacon blinked slowly now. Its light was weak. The food pack was nearly empty. Water was gone. Her hands trembled. She had already taken off the small oxygen mask. If the end was coming, she would not fight it. She sat against the pod wall, holding a small crystal. It was a memory stone, filled with the voices of her family. She had listened to it every day since the crash. Now she was too tired even to press play. Her voice was a whisper. No one is coming.
No.
A soft beat broke the silence. The beacon had finally stopped. Its power was gone. Rena closed her eyes, far across the stars. On a human scout ship named Hope Runner, a signal was picked up. It was old, broken, and weak, but still there. Identified life form distress call.
Identified life form distress call signal.
The pilot of the ship, a human named Tom, sat up straight. He had been scanning dead zones for signs of ancient ships or lost colonies. This wasn't part of the mission. He clicked on the voice file. Static hissed in his ears, but under it he heard a faint, tired voice. I am Rena. Crash. Help, please. Tom's eyes narrowed. That doesn't sound human. The AI responded, non-human language match, 68%, translation possible. Warning, planet is unregistered and unstable. Tom didn't care. He wasn't the kind of man to turn away from a voice like that. Set course, he ordered. The planet looked dead as he landed. The Hope Runner touched down on rough ground and dust rose into the air. Sensors showed no cities, no animals, no power sources. The place was cold and dangerous. Tom put on his suit. Oxygen was low on the planet. He grabbed a medkit, heating. Blanket, light drone, and emergency pack. His ship warned him again. Stay on signal path. Life signs are weak. He walked slowly across the jagged ground, led by the blinking of his scanner. The sky above rumbled. Thunder cracked. He moved through rocks, past a narrow cliff, and finally saw it a small broken escape pod. Half covered by dirt, he ran toward it. Rena didn't hear the noise at first. Her thoughts were slow. Her body felt heavy. Then came a sound metal scraping. A light. A shadow fell across her. Her eyes opened slightly. Someone was there. He wasn't tall, not too strong-looking, but he moved with purpose. His suit was dusty, his helmet scratched. He leaned in and gently touched her shoulder. Hey, you awake? Rena tried to speak. Her voice didn't work, but her fingers moved slightly. Tom's face appeared in the glass of his helmet. He smiled. Don't worry, you're safe now. He lifted her carefully. She was light, too light. He wrapped her in the blanket and held her close. Rena heard his heartbeat. For the first time in days, she felt something warm back on the Hope. Runner Tom placed her in the medbay. The ship scanned her and adjusted the air mixture to match her needs. It would take time, but she would live. Tom sat nearby, watching her chest rise and fall. She's going to make it, he whispered. The AI said rescue successful. Species. Match Orin, known peaceful explorers, no known danger. Tom leaned back in his seat. He didn't know why he cared so much. Maybe because she had sounded so broken. Maybe because she reminded him of someone he lost long ago. Or maybe because humans were still human, even across the stars. They didn't leave people behind. Rena opened her eyes slowly. The room was strange, warm, clean. A human sat near her, looking tired but kind. He spoke softly. "You're safe now." She blinked. Then tears filled her eyes. She was not alone. The end had not come. A new story had just begun. The stars outside the Hope Runner moved slowly as the ship drifted through space. Inside, soft lights glowed on the control panels. The hum of the engine was steady. It was a calm sound, the kind that made a person feel safe. Tom sat at the front of the ship, watching the girl on the med bed through the glass wall behind him. The alien girl, Rena, still slept. Her breathing was normal now. Her skin, once pale and weak, had some color again. She had survived the cold, hunger, and loneliness of that dead planet. Tom still didn't understand why her voice had shaken him so much when he first heard her call for help. It was just another signal, he had thought at first. There were many. Old calls floating in space, ghost signals from battles, empty ships, or lost crews. Most of them were dead ends. But this one had been different. He remembered it clearly, 2 days ago. Tom had been flying through the black zones Arias, where no ships traveled anymore. It was quiet work. He was mapping old signals and checking for wreckage. Some people said the black zones were haunted. Tom didn't believe in ghosts, but the silence made even him uneasy. Then it came. Signal detected. Life signs unknown. His message repeating, his ship's AI had said. He tapped the control panel. Let's hear it. At first, he only heard static. Then came a voice, soft and tired, as if it was speaking from the edge of life. Rena, crash, hurt, alone, please. The voice was not human, but it sounded afraid. It sounded real. He sat still for a long moment. He knew what command would say, don't waste time on weak signals. But he couldn't ignore it. He leaned forward. Location, planet ID, unknown. Rough terrain, atmosphere thin. No confirmed life signs. Tom didn't care. He had made his decision. Prepare landing sequence. I'm going down. Now 2 days later, the girl was safe on his ship. Tom stood and walked to the medbay door. It slid open quietly. The room smelled clean. Machines softly beeped and blinked, showing that Rena was healing. She opened her eyes slowly. Tom smiled. Hey, you're awake? She stared at him. Her eyes were large, silver blue like a moonlit sea. She looked scared but curious. He raised both hands. It's okay. You're safe. Her lips moved, but he didn't understand her words. The language was soft and musical. The AI spoke from the wall, translation in progress. Foreign language detected. Partial understanding possible. Tom pointed to himself. Tom. I'm Tom. Human. She looked at him carefully, and she pointed to herself and said one word. Rena. Tom smiled wider. Rena? That's a nice name. Over the next few hours, Rena grew stronger. She sat up slowly, still wrapped in a warm blanket. Tom gave her water and food paste. She didn't like the taste, but ate anyway. He showed her a screen with picture stars, planets, and a map of the galaxy. She watched with wide eyes, then she pointed to a group of stars. Orin. Home, she said softly. Her home was far away. Too far. Tom's ship wasn't built for deep jumps. He didn't say anything. He didn't want to hurt her hope. Instead, he pointed to a star near her home where human ships often passed. Well, go here, he said. Maybe someone can help from there. She nodded slowly. It was a small hope, but it was more than she had before. As they traveled through space, Rena and Tom began to understand each other better. They used simple words, hand signals, and images. The AI helped with translation, but it was still slow. Rena showed him a small crystal from her pocket. She pressed it, and a soft light filled the room. Tom listened quietly. He didn't ask about her family. Sadness in her eyes was enough. He showed her a photo from his suit pocket. It was old, with worn edges. A woman and a little boy stood smiling. Mother, Tom said. She taught me how to fly. Rena touched the photo gently. Beautiful. That night, or what felt like night in space. Tom sat alone in the control room. The stars outside were bright now. No clouds, no storms, just peace. He thought about how strange it all was. He had never seen an Orin before. Many humans hadn't. They were rare, distant, peaceful. Nothing like the warlike species in the outer systems. And yet here one was fragile, soft-spoken, and trusting him. He didn't know what kind of world she came from. But he knew one thing. She didn't deserve to die alone. Tom leaned back and sighed. "We'll get her home," he said softly too. Himself, behind him, Rena stood at the doorway. She watched him for a moment, then walked forward slowly. She pointed to the stars on the screen and said one word, "Hope." Tom looked at her. "Yes," he said, "hope." The cold wind screamed across the empty plains. Sharp ice crystals floated in the air like tiny knives. Beneath the thick gray clouds, the ground was nothing but broken stone and frozen dust. The planet had no name, just a number PX407. No. One lived there. Nothing grew. But once long ago, Rena had fallen from the sky onto this forgotten place. Her escape pod had crashed hard, tearing through the atmosphere and smashing into the rock. The fire from the crash had kept her alive for the first day. After that, the cold took over. Now she stood outside her pod, wrapped in a silver heat cloak that Tom had given her. The air was thin but breathable for her. Her steps were slow, careful. Her boots crunched on the ice as she walked. Tom stood beside her, helmet on, suit pressurized. His breath fogged the inside of the visor, but he didn't complain. He was used to strange places and strange missions, but this place felt lonely, even for him. "This is where you were?" he asked. His voice coming through her earpiece, Rena nodded. She pointed to a spot near a jagged cliff. "I woke up there. The pod was broken. I thought I was the only one left in the universe." Tom looked at the cliff. Sharp rocks lined its edge. One wrong step and she would have fallen. He shook his head slowly. "You're lucky," he said. "No," Rena replied. "You're lucky you didn't land here alone." They walked together toward the wrecked pod. Its metal shell was covered in frost. The outer layers rusted and bent. The door had been forced open long ago. Inside, broken equipment lay scattered, along with dried food packs and empty water tubes. Rena stepped in slowly, looking around. She touched the memory crystal still stuck in the panel near the wall. It blinked once, but had no power left. Tom stayed outside the pod, letting her have a moment. He looked at the planet's horizon. Soft orange glow peeked through the thick clouds, not sunlight, just the reflection of nearby stars. This world was a graveyard. "Do you want to take anything?" he asked after a while. Rena stepped back out, holding a small round object. It was smooth and white, something like a stone, but lighter. She held it carefully. "What's that?" Tom asked. "For my sister," she said softly. It to me before the flight. Tom didn't ask more. Could see how tightly she held it. Some things didn't need many words. Back on the Hope Runner, Tom sat in the command chair while Rena rested in her room. She hadn't said much since they left the planet. Her face had been calm, but her eyes showed something else, souled pain. Waking up again? Tom understood that feeling. He had been a rescue pilot for 6 years. He had seen people pulled from wrecks, from frozen stations, from burning colonies. Sometimes the body healed faster than the heart. He turned to the AI screen. "Any signs of nearby ships?" "None," the AI answered. "Sector empty." Tom leaned back. "Keep scanning." In her room, Rena sat on the bed, the white stone in her hands. She remembered her sister's smile, her voice, the way they used to sing together. Her people didn't believe in war or weapons. They believed in stars, in travel, in harmony with others. But harmony hadn't saved them. She remembered the attack dark machines falling from the sky, ships burning, friends screaming. No warning, no mercy, just destruction. Her people had no way to fight back. They were explorers, not soldiers. She didn't even know if her sister was still alive. Tears filled her eyes, but she wiped them away. The door opened quietly. Tom stepped in, carrying a small tray. "I thought you might be hungry," he said. She looked up. "Thank you." He sat on the chair near the wall. The room was quiet for a while, and Tom said, "You're strong." Rena looked at him, confused. "Why do you say that?" "'Cause you survived all that," he replied. "You kept going, even when it felt like there was no reason." She looked down at the white stone. "I wasn't strong. I was just waiting." "That's what strength is sometimes," Tom said. "Staying alive, holding on." They sat in silence again. Then Rena asked, "Why did you come for me?" "I am not human." Tom thought for a moment. Then he said, "Because you were alone, and no one should die alone." The next day, the ship entered deep space again. Rena joined Tom in the command room. She had never seen a human ship from the inside before, but now it felt almost familiar. The panels, the blinking lights, the hum of the engine, it had become the sound of safety. Tom showed her a new course on the screen. "This is a border zone," he said. "Some Oran colonies used to be near here, if there are any survivors. They might be hiding." Rena nodded slowly. "We must try." They set the course together. As the ship jumped into the next sector, something changed in Rena's eyes. She was no longer just waiting to be rescued. She was part of the rescue now, but far away. In the black shadows between systems, something else was watching. A dark machine, cold, silent, drifted through the void. Its eyes were not eyes but sensors, always scanning. It had no name, no voice, only orders. And it had just picked up a trail, a signal from a human ship, carrying something ancient. Something it was meant to destroy. The hunt had begun. The stars outside the Hope Runner looked peaceful, but peace was only on the surface. Deep in space, behind the quiet, things were moving. Dark machines were waking. Long-range sensors were tracking. Someone or something had noticed Rena. But inside the ship, Tom and Rena didn't know that yet. They were sitting in the command room, facing each other. Between them was a tablet with pictures, words, and symbols. It was a translation tool. Their hands moved slowly as they drew, pointed, and taught one another. Tom said, "This is tree," Rena repeated softly. "Tree." She smiled a little. "On Orin, you say Selly." "Selly," Tom repeated. She pointed to another picture. "Star." "Yes," Tom said. "Star?" Rena tilted her head. "On my world, we call it a lar, the lights that watch us." Tom smiled. "Beautiful."
They were from two different
Worlds, two species, two stories. But they were building a bridge, one word at a time. Later, Rena walked into the observation room. The wall in front of her was one big window. Stars stretched out in every direction. Some were blue, some red, some tiny and far away. She touched the glass gently. Back home, she had watched the stars every night. Her people believed that the stars carried memories, that if you spoke to them, your voice would live forever, drifting. "Across the sky?" she whispered now. "Can you hear me?" Tom entered the room and stood beside her. "Talking to the stars?" he asked. Rena looked at him. "Yes. It's what we do when we miss someone." Tom looked out the window too, and maybe I should start doing it. She looked curious.
"Do
You miss someone?" Tom nodded slowly. "My little brother. He joined a mining crew 2 years ago. The ship went missing. No signal, no wreckage, nothing." "Sorry," Rena said softly. "It's all right," he replied. Kept flying, hoping I'd find something. Maybe I still will. There was silence for a moment. Then Rena asked, "Do humans believe stars carry voices?" Tom shook his head. "No, but I think it's a nice idea." Rena smiled. "Then tonight we talked to the stars together." The next day, Rena showed Tom the memory crystal again. "This stores sound," she said. "Voices of my family, my people." "Can we hear it?" Tom asked. "Yes, but only pieces. It was damaged in the crash." She placed the crystal on the table. A soft hum filled the air. Then a voice, gentle and full of music, spoke in her language. There were laughs, soft words, something that sounded like a song. Tom didn't understand the words, but the feeling reached him anyway. It felt like a family sitting under a warm light. Like peace. She was my sister, Rena said, pointing to the voice. She always sang when I was afraid. Tom looked at her. She sounds kind. She was brave, Rena said. During the attack, she pushed me into the pod. She stayed behind. Tom didn't say anything for a moment. Then he placed a hand on the table near the crystal. We'll find the others, he said, even if it's just one. We'll find someone. Rena's eyes filled with tears. But this time, they were not only from sadness. There was hope in them. As the ship moved toward the border zone, the AI suddenly beeped. Message received. Unknown source. Tom and Rena looked at each other. Put it on, Tom said quickly. The screen flickered.
What?
Then a voice came through. It was cracked, full of static, but the words were clear to Rena. Any orange ship or ally. This is Station Luma 3. Survivors hiding. Need help. Machines still hunting, the message repeated. Rena gasped. It's real. There are still Orin alive. Tom looked at the star map. That station is just 2 sectors away. Please, Rena said. Let's go. We're all ready. On the way, Tom replied with a smile, but behind them, something was closing in. A small black drone had entered the system. Its body was round, covered in sensors. It followed the heat trail left by the Hope Runner, but had no feelings, no mercy. Only orders. Find the Orin. Eliminate. Erase. It turned toward Luma-3, inside the ship. Tom was checking the weapons system. The Hope Runner was not a warship. It had 1 small laser cannon and 2 defense drones. Not much, but it was something. Rena walked in. What are you doing? She asked. Just being careful, Tom said. The message said the machines are. Still hunting? Rena nodded. My people, we didn't fight. We only ran. We believed war was wrong. Tom looked at her and now. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, now I believe in survival. In standing beside those who protect others. Tom looked at her with respect. You've changed, he said. Rena gave a small smile. So have you. As they neared the Luma system, the stars grew brighter. The space around the station was full of broken ships and floating metal. It was clear there had been a battle here. Tom steered carefully. There, Rena pointed. Luma 3. The station was small, hiding near an asteroid. Its lights flickered. Its walls were blackened from fire. Tom opened the channel. This is the human ship Hope Runner. We're here to help. Static answered at first. Then a voice. Came, you made it? We have wounded. Come fast. Tom looked at Rena. Get the med kits ready. Rena nodded. I'm with you. They didn't know it yet, but someone else was coming too. The black drone had locked onto there. Signaled the words they sent across stars had been heard by friend. And by enemy. The Hope Runner moved slowly toward the damaged station, Luma 3, its lights blinking in the cold dark of space. The place looked dead black, scorch marks on the walls, broken antennas floating nearby, pieces of wreckage spinning slowly. Inside, something was still alive. Tom guided the ship carefully. We'll dock on the lower bay, he said. That side still has power. Rena stood beside him, her hands holding a small med pack. Her heart was beating fast. It had been a long time since she saw any of her people. She didn't know what she would find. Would anyone remember her? Would they trust a human? Do you think they'll be okay with me going in? Tom asked. Rena nodded. You saved me. That's enough for them. It has to be. The ship docked with a soft thud. Doors slid open with a hiss. Darkness greeted them. Inside Luma 3, the air was thin and cold. Emergency lights blinked faintly. Most of the rooms were silent. Some doors were broken. The station had been attacked, that was clear. Tom held a light in one hand, Rena close behind him. They moved through the hallways slowly, listening for any sound. Then came a voice, weak but real. Who's there? Rena gasped. That's our language. They rushed forward and found a small group of survivors in a medbay. There were 5 of them, 2 older Orin, 1 young man, and 2 children. Their faces were tired, their eyes full of fear and hunger. One of the older ones stood up slowly.
Rena, is that really you?
Rena ran forward and hugged her. Yes. I thought you were all gone. Tom stayed back, letting them speak. But the young Orin man looked at him with sharp eyes. Human, he asked coldly. Rena turned quickly. This is Tom. He saved me. The room fell silent. Tom stepped forward. I'm here to help, nothing else. A soft nod. Then you are welcome, human Tom. They spent the next hours sharing food, giving medicine, and fixing broken systems. Tom repaired the water recycler, while Rena helped the children eat. The station survivors had been living in fear, waiting for death or rescue. We thought no one heard our message, one of them said. Tom smiled. Someone did. But not only friendly ears had listened. Far away, a black machine ship entered. The system. No lights. No radio. Only silence. It had found the Hope Runner's trail. And now it was coming. On the station, Tom was in the control room checking power levels when the AI on his wrist buzzed. Warning. Unidentified ship approaching. No signal. No ID. Movement fast. He jumped up. Rena, get the others ready. Ran into the hallway. Everyone to the safe room. Now the survivors rushed as fast as they could.
Yes.
The children held hands tightly. The older ones grabbed a few tools and supplies. Tom rushed back to the Hope Runner and opened the weapons panel. His ship wasn't built for war, but he had prepared. 2 drones. 1 laser cannon. Few defense shields. It would have to be enough. The black enemy ship dropped from orbit like a falling shadow. Sides opened, releasing 6 spider-like drones. Each one had sharp legs, red sensors, and metal claws. They moved quickly toward Luma-3. Inside the Hope Runner, Tom sat in the pilot's seat, activating defense mode. Come on, he whispered. He sent out his drones. They met the enemy halfway. In space, tiny lights flashing in the dark. 1 enemy drone was hit and exploded. The others kept coming. Tom fired the laser. Another was destroyed, but 2 drones broke past and landed on the station's outer shell. Rena, he called through the cum there inside. Rena and the Orin survivors hid inside the lowest room of the station. The walls shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The children cried. One of the older survivors looked at her. We should have run when we had time. No, Rena said, standing up. We've run enough. She grabbed a tool from the wall of heat torch hand. Turned it on. We're not helpless. Not anymore. Tom's voice came through the speaker. Rena, I can't stop all of them. Rena looked at the others. Come with me. We'll hold them off together. The young man who had doubted Tom earlier stood up. Let's fight. In the stations. Hallway. 2 enemy drones crawled forward, their metal legs clicking against the floor. They cut through doors, searching for life. Rena and the others waited behind the next corner. As the drone turned, Rena shouted, Now! She blasted it. With the heat torch, sparks flew. The young Orin man slammed a pipe into the sensor eye. The drone screeched, then dropped. The second one jumped forward. Tom arrived just in time, firing his blaster. Shot hit the drone in the joint. Rena finished it with another blast. Smoke filled the hallway. The battle was over. Later, the survivors gathered in the station's meeting room. Tom had sealed the enemy ship wreckage outside. The Hope Runner stood, ready to leave. You saved us, one of the elders said. No, Tom replied. You saved yourselves. I just gave you a push. Rena stepped forward. We must find the others. This is not the end. Tom looked at her. You're ready? She nodded. Yes. And this time, we don't run alone.
No.
The survivors cheered. Softly, the human and the alien girl stood together, ready for the next step. But deep in space, more shadows stirred. The war was not over yet. The Hope Runner floated just above the small station Luma-3. The stars were quiet, but everyone inside knew that peace would not last. Tom stood by the window, arms crossed. His eyes were on the darkness ahead. After the attack by the black machines, he knew more would come. Those metal hunters never stopped. Once they marked someone, they kept chasing. And now they had marked Rena, and every Orin still alive. Rena walked into the room. Her silver blue skin looked pale, but her steps were firm. "They're coming, aren't they?" she asked. Tom nodded. "Soon that was just a scout ship. The real force won't take long." "Rena, look down. Then we can't stay here." "No," Tom said. "We also can't just run. Not anymore." Over the next 2 days, Tom, Rena, and the survivors prepared. The Hope Runner wasn't a warship, but Tom had been in tight spots. Before, he had fought pirates, smugglers, and wild planets. He knew how to turn broken things into weapons. They started with the station's engine room. Tom rewired it to power defense shields. The young Orin survivor Darrow helped him, though he had once doubted Tom. Now he followed him like a student. "Humans build fast," Darrow said. Tom grinned. "We build when we're scared." Next, they built traps in the station's halls, heat wires, shock pads, and sharp barriers. Rena worked with the others, setting up signal jammers to confuse enemy drones. She moved with new energy, not like someone waiting for rescue, but like someone fighting for her people. At night, Tom and Rena sat on the roof of the station, looking at the stars. They had one heater between them. "You changed," Tom said quietly. "So did you," Rena replied. Tom looked at her. "You're not afraid anymore, I am," she said. "But I don't want to hide. My people always believed in peace. But now, I believe in protection too. Not just of myself, but of the ones who can't fight." Tom nodded. "That's what soldiers do." "I'm not a soldier," Rena said softly. Tom looked at her gently. "Maybe not, but you've got fire now." She smiled. "Maybe I borrowed it from a human." They laughed softly under the cold stars. The warning came on the third morning. The station's scanner beeped. A massive ship had entered the system black, long and full of machines. It didn't speak, didn't send a signal. It just moved closer and closer. "Time to battle," Tom said. "Positions." Everyone ran to their posts. Rena stood in. The command room with Tom, Darrow, and the other survivors were in defense points across the station. Tom locked his ship's systems and linked them to the station. "We'll fight together," he said, "human and Orin." The machine ship opened. Drones flew out like blackbirds, 10, then 20, then more, sharp legs, red eyes. Fast. Tom's voice echoed through the comm. "Hold your ground." The battle began. Hope Runner's cannon fired first, blasting 2 drones into pieces. The station's defense grid shocked 3 more. But the rest kept coming. They crashed into the station like hammers, crawling through vents and doors. The traps slowed them. Some exploded. Others made it through. Rena grabbed a pulse blaster and fired down a hallway. Darrow stood beside her, swinging a metal rod at a drone that jumped forward. Sparks flew. Tom moved through the chaos, fixing what broke and fighting where needed. His suit was burned, his arm bleeding, but he didn't stop. One drone jumped at Rena. She screamed and fell. Tom fired just in time as blast hit the drone's sensor eye, sending it into the wall in pieces. He pulled Rena up. "You okay?" "Yes," she gasped. "Thank you." He looked into her eyes. "No more waiting for rescue. We rescue each other now." The battle raged for hours. The machines kept coming, wave after wave. The defenders were tired, hurt, but they didn't give up. Then came the worst. A large drone, twice the size of the others, broke through the main wall. It was black, heavy, and had a cannon on one side. Rena shouted, "It's a core destroyer." Tom looked at it. "If that thing reaches the main reactor, the whole station is gone." He turned to Rena. "Get everyone to the ship." "What about you?" she asked. "I'll stop it," he said. "No," Rena said firmly. "We stop it." Together they ran toward the reactor room. The destroyer was already cutting through the walls. Heat poured from its cannon. Tom looked around. He saw a fuel pipe and an old coolant tank. "Rena," he said, "when I say now, shoot the pipe." She nodded, raising her blaster. He ran too. The other side, dodging debris. The destroyer turned to him, its cannon charged with a red glow. Now, Tom shouted. Rena fired. The pipe burst, spraying gas. Tom fired to at the coolant tank. The explosion shook the entire station. Fire swallowed. The destroyer and smoke filled the hallway. For a moment, all was quiet. Then Tom coughed and stood. We got it. Rena ran to him. You're crazy. He smiled. That's human fire. After the battle, the station was damaged, but still standing. The machine ship, seeing its drones destroyed, pulled back and disappeared. Inside the command room, the survivors cheered. Darrow hugged Rena. The children smiled for the first time in days. Tom sat on the floor, breathing hard. Rena knelt beside him. You didn't leave. I told you, he said. We don't leave people behind. Held out her hand. He took it. They stood together, human and alien, no longer afraid. Together they had lit a fire in the dark. The stars were quiet again. For the first time in many days, the station Luma 3 was no longer under attack. Smoke had cleared. Fires were out. The air smelled like metal and burnt wires, but it was safe. The survivors, both Orin and humans, stood together on the main platform, tired but proud. Broken panels, melted doors, and black marks showed what they had faced and what they had won. Tom looked around slowly. Sir's arm was bandaged. His suit was torn, but he stood tall. Victory, even small, had its own strength. Rena stood beside him. Her silver-blue skin was still dusty from the battle. Her long hair was tied back. She had not smiled much in the past, but now her smile was real. We survived, she said quietly. Tom nodded. Yeah, but this isn't the end. She looked at him. No, it's the beginning. They met in the command room an hour later. Tom. Rena Darrow and the other leaders sat around the holotable. The map showed nearby systems. But it also showed the damage to the station. The machines will return, Darrow said. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they always return. Tom tapped the table. We need a plan. We can't just hide and wait. We must make a home that can fight back. We are not fighters, said one Orin elder. Our people believe in peace. Tom looked at him. Peace is good. But if we want peace, we must be strong enough to protect it, Rena added. Tom is right. The enemy doesn't stop because we want peace. It stops when we show we won't run. The room was quiet. Then the elder nodded slowly. Then we build. Together. Work began the next day. Everyone helped. Humans and Orin worked side by side. The damaged rooms were cleared. The walls were reinforced. Energy shields were made stronger. Tom taught the Orin how to repair human tech. Rena taught the humans how to use Orin scanners. Darrow, once quiet and shy, led a group of young builders. They built not just for safety, but for life. A greenhouse room was opened where plants could grow. A school was set up for children, even painted parts of the walls in bright colors. Life returned to the station not just in breath, but in hope. One evening, Tom walked into the old comms room. Rena was there, fixing the long-range antenna. You're still working? He asked. She smiled. Just finished. I can send signals again. Maybe someone will hear us. Tom leaned against the wall. Do you think there are more survivors out there? I hope so, Rena said. If we found each other, others can too. She looked at him. You gave me hope again. Tom shook his head. You already had. It was just sleeping. Rena stepped closer. Before you came, I had given up. And now? Tom asked. Now, she said, I want to live. I want to protect. And I want to help others like me. Tom looked into her eyes, then let's do it together. Days passed. And a message came through the repaired comms. A small ship, a group of lost Orin, was close and searching for shelter. They had heard the signal. Tom and Rena jumped into action. The landing pad was cleared. A flag was raised, half human, half Orin, drawn by the children. The ship arrived safely. Tired faces stepped out when they saw Luma 3, clean, shining. And alive, they cried. We thought all was lost, one of them said. Tom smiled. You were lost. Now you're home. The station was no longer just a hiding place. It had become a light in the dark. More survivors came mooring, humans, and even a few from other species that had escaped the machines. Word began to spread about a place that fought back. Rena led the new council. Tom trained volunteers in defense. Darrow worked as the young tech officer. Hope grew with each day, but Tom never forgot the danger. One night, he sat alone on the roof, looking at the stars. Rena joined him, holding 2 cups of warm root tea. You worry too much, she said, handing him one. Someone has to, replied. She looked at the stars with him. You ever think of Earth? Tom nodded. Sometimes. I don't know what's left of it, but I found something else out here. Place worth fighting for. Rena smiled. 2. They sat in silence, warm in the cold night. One morning, a small Orin child gave Tom a drawing. It showed him and Rena standing in front of the station, with stars above and fire behind them. In the child's writing it said, "The human came. When we lost hope, now we fight with light." Tom showed it to Rena. She laughed softly. Looks like you've become a hero, he shrugged. I didn't come to be a hero. You didn't, but you became one anyway. Time passed. The station grew. Defenses became stronger. Life became normal against school, meals, birthdays, repairs. But no one forgot what had come before. They called the station New Dawn now, and at the heart of it stood Tom. The human who didn't turn away, and Rena, the alien girl who stopped waiting and chose to rise. Together, they had built more than a home. They had built a symbol, not of war, but of hope, unity, and fire, and in the dark space beyond. Others began to follow that light.